Hi everyone, it's James here from Production Expert. This time looking at the subject of convolution reverb. I've got 3 audio examples to play you, and for these audio examples I'm using the new Spaces 2 convolution reverb plugin by EastWest. Now Spaces 2 is very simple to use. It's incredibly powerful, but they really have done a great job of honing down on the functionality that you really need, rather than giving you a billion options that you're never going to play with. The GUI is very simple. We have 4 main control knobs: an input, which is the input level into the plugin, a dry level. Now in this case I'm using the plugin on auxiliary, so we want the dry level all the way down. However, if I was on an insert, I'd probably have this dry level up around 50-60% or so. We then have a wet level, which is effectively our output. Interestingly, over here in the bottom left of the plugin, we have the pre-delay setting. Now, clearly, EastWest have decided that pre-delay is the most important editable feature, and I have to admit I tend to agree with them. The pre-delay is what gives you the feeling of size in a reverb, in a space. Now, of course, the thing about convolution reverb is it's based on real acoustic spaces anyway. So, I'm probably not going to tweak the pre-delay too much in this example. It might be something I choose to tweak as we go through. We then have our preset browser, and in this case there are over 1,000 different presets and spaces to choose from. We have a settings page. Now, one of the useful things is you can always choose to load the plugin as if you're using it on an aux send. That way it will always bring the dry level down to 0. Quite a useful little feature. There are 2 other really easy editing tweaks to make on Spaces 2. We can change the decay time, and we also have 2 filters, a high pass and a low pass filter, to be able to tweak the reverb just so we can shape it to exactly what we need. Down here we have mono and stereo. We can listen to the reverb in mono, and in Spaces 2 there are 2 types of reverb. There is mono to stereo, and then there's what they're calling true stereo, S to S, stereo to stereo. That's a mono input to a stereo output, the sort of thing we'd have on an analog console. And then there's stereo input to stereo output, true stereo. So predominantly in these 3 audio examples, all I'm doing is putting the music into an acoustic space. That's what convolution reverb is really good at. And in every case, I've created a stereo auxiliary, which I've called reverb or room verb, depending on, hey, which I type first. And I've created a stereo send. Now, I have over-egged the reverb pudding for these examples, so it is a bit reverb heavy, because I want you to hear how beautiful these reverbs sound. So let's dive in with the first example. I'm choosing the War Memorial Opera House in the brass setting. Some of the presets are actually allocated different instruments, but in this case, reverb's reverb, it just sounds great.
We sit down in the evening sun, beer in hand, our day is done. I smile at you in the summer heat. You make my life dream complete. It wasn't always like this for me.
You can hear from the way the tail falls off, this is actually quite a short reverb for such a big space. Reason without pre-delay, it just sounds great. Let's dive in for something a bit more realistic. Let's go for a stage sound, LA scoring, true stereo. Let's go back there. I'm going to pull this right down because obviously I haven't chosen that particular setting. Let's try again.
We sit down in the evening sun, beer in hand, our day is done. I smile at you in the summer heat.
It doesn't sound like there's much going on until you stop the track and you hear the reverb tail. Now, of course, we can go to ridiculous spaces if we want to. Let's go to a church. Let's go to that one. Again, true stereo. Let's go there. 6 seconds of reverb. This is going to be pretty epic.
We sit down in the evening sun, beer in hand, our day is done. I smile at you in the summer heat. You make my life dream complete.
It's beautiful. It's a little too epic for this particular track, but you kind of get where we're going with this. You can recreate acoustic spaces beautifully. Now, of course, there are also presets for sound effects, for Foley, for post applications. So we have catacombs, we have train stations, warehouses. Union Station is particularly amusing. Doesn't work so well for the vocal, but listen to the percussion tracks. They sound great in this space. So this is a track I've been working on with my buddy Rex Strother. And because this is an EastWest product, an EastWest Convolution Reverb, what they've done is they've created convolutions of their own studios, which, quite frankly, is a moment of genius, because I've always wanted to play drums and instruments in those spaces. So for this example, we're going to choose Studio 1, wide. We'll load it up. I'm going to, again, pull that dry setting right back and have a listen to this.
Baby's in heels, and baby got a pork pie hat. She knows what's up, and baby knows where it's at. She never paid the cover 'cause...
Again, you don't think there's much reverb until you hit the stop button and you hear that kind of lovely tight acoustic space in this case. Again, we could put this, if we decided we wanted to put it on a live stage, we can do. Those are the scoring stages. Of course, there are instrumentally specific spaces, if you like. Rock, drums, guitar. Let's have some of that. Let's try that. Where's it going to take us? Again, interestingly, the graphic is of one of the EastWest studios. Let's try that.
Baby's in heels, and baby got a pork pie hat. She knows what's up.
Really, really nice. The interface makes it really obvious what's going on. There's not that much to tweak or play with. Fantastic stuff. So in this final example, we have 3 instances of EastWest Spaces 2. Again, I've got my kind of acoustic space, if you like. In this case, I've called it room verb. Let's have a listen to the drums. They sound epic. It's really tight. It's really lovely. Now, of course, what we can do is let's go to Studios, EastWest, and go to Studio 2, which is regarded as probably one of the best sounding drum rooms on planet Earth. I'm not fortunate enough to have recorded in there yet, but hey, there's still time. That could be over-egging it a little bit. Let's see how it fits in the track. I'm going to take the vocals out just for the moment. I love the fact that it's like playing drums in that big space, that big, inspiring rock-sounding space. Now, on the vocals, I have given them their own reverb in an insert slot rather than on an auxiliary. And again, in this case, I've had to turn the dry all the way up, and I'm then blending with the wet. I'm using a solo vocal patch, and there's quite a lot of reverb there. There's quite a nice, long pre-delay, but the actual tail of the reverb is really quite long. It sounds great.
Relentless things they'll never know. Born to lines of...
Again, you could be forgiven for saying it sounds a little epic, but it kind of works in this case. Fantastic stuff. A really cool plugin, one you should check out. That's Spaces 2 by EastWest.